14th meeting of the Select Board is open at 6 o'clock. I'll entertain a motion to approve the November 21st and the November 22nd Selectmen meetings minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, all.
I don't know if I was there for.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public forum, which is an opportunity for anyone who wants to address the Board of Selectmen with any issue that is not on the agenda. Anybody? Go ahead.
I'm all along?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Bill Case. I live in Cape Porpoise. I've been a real estate developer and agent for 40 years.
Yeah, something's wrong with
Is
the
it
mic.
on?
Yeah, is it
Okay.
on?
Okay, I got it.
There you go, Bill.
I'll start again. My name is Bill Case. I live in Cape Porpoise for the last 30 years. I've been a real estate developer and broker for 40 years. I've done, I think, 6 projects in Kennebunkport. Been on the Growth Planning Committee, the Planning Board, Affordable Housing Committee, and so on and so forth. I did not get the opportunity to look at the proposed new town hall until we voted on it, and when I saw the price tag, I said, whoa, I think I better look at this. And I did, and I came up with some simple proposals that may be options to what was presented. Having been in the real estate development and as a realtor, I've spent a lot of time in the code enforcement office, and having been on the planning board and growth planning committee as well. And it creates quite a bit of traffic. I know there's hundreds of permits issued a month, and I took a look at the number of permits issued just in the month of November, and it was mind-boggling. There's a lot of traffic in and out of there, and I know a lot of builders and agents have problems parking down there. So I came up with what I thought was a simple solution. Having lived in Cape Porpoise all this time, I drive by where the police station is, and I see a parking lot there with 30 parking spots and 6 acres, almost 6 acres of empty land. And I'm thinking, boy, wouldn't that be a better location for the code enforcement officer, for code enforcement officer? And we have handouts with a lot of this information in, if my wife would be so kind to hand them out. In talking, I've talked to, well, most of the large builders, Tim Spang, Jeff Bowley, Don Coburn, and a lot of the real estate agents, and they all agree that it would be a much better location for them as far as accessibility and parking. A lot of these contractors come not only with their pickup trucks, but with trailers on the back of them, and even some of the pickup trucks now are large, so they have difficulty finding parking at the current town hall. And they didn't really seem to think that a North Street proposal would be any better for them, because they're still got to go through town to get through all the traffic and everything. In the summertime, it's even more burdensome. And most of the future development, based on where the infrastructure is going to be at the north and west of town, not downtown where it is now. We came up with some estimates on, whoops, that's my phone. We came up with some estimates on what the proposals were for the new town hall, for the space for the code enforcement and assessing, and moving those to a new building and taking the 2,000 square feet of storage space out of the current town hall would be more than enough space, actually end up more space than what was proposed in the new building. And then I was a little taken back by the amount of, about 46% of the proposed new town hall is open space, public space. And I'm thinking, you know, we've got a meeting room here of 2,000 square feet, and we've probably got not even 20 people in it, and wondering how often would we need that amount of space. Most of these meetings are televised now, and with Zoom. I do a lot of Zoom meetings with different organizations, and so the amount of public space needed for meetings has gone down and down and down because of that technology. The cost of the building, my estimates wouldn't be anything to the taxpayers at all. I think the proposal one of the proposals was to sell one of the, what I call the McCabe pieces. There are two pieces there. There's an 8-acre piece and a 4-acre piece,
Right.
and I'm assuming
It's
it
the
was just
8-acre piece.
the 8-acre piece. And the sale of that alone would more than cover the cost of the entire building. And the infrastructure's already there. You got a 30-car parking lot. And if you ever had a need for additional meeting space, there's still plenty of space there. And if there wasn't enough parking, there's an American Legion Hall right across the street that would take the overflow. I don't know what else to say over and above that. The handouts pretty much spell out that. The 8-acre parcel, if you look at the average lot size in that area, I'm not sure if you're familiar with subdivision's name, but the one subdivision, the Magnolia Drive and Arcadia and Briarwood and that whole, the minimum lot size in that subdivision when it was done, it was only 10,000 square feet. And it's a beautiful little subdivision, town water, town storage, walking distance into town. If you look at the surveys for the responses with what they thought should be done with the town parcel, probably the highest response was open space. I mean, the Conservation Trust owns 20% of all the land in town anyway. Why would you preserve more open space in an area that's accessible to town water and town storage and is right in town? I mean, I was on the board of directors for the Conservation Trust for years and involved in a lot of the acquisition and everything. Our main goal at that time was to create the opportunity to, and we have it now with one gap to walk from Cape Porpoise all the way to the Biddeford town line. And with the gap from Gravelly Brook Road to the Smith Preserve, that's the only thing that's missing. You can go up Clement Huff Road and park and walk all the way from there. So, and we got sidewalks and we got parks and we got beaches, and so the need for recreation in that particular location I don't think is justifiable. Anyway, that's my pitch.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. Thank you
Yeah,
for doing
thank you.
that.
We'll definitely look it over.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bill, again. Stephanie, we're going to talk about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan follow-up.
Yes, good evening. So at the last board meeting, you were presented with the final report from Viewshed, and Jessica was here to do that. And I know you didn't get that report in a timely manner, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to look through it and to present any questions you might have. I did do a little work. Lori and I have already sat down to meet to talk about capital budget. So in that conversation, we kind of went through the priorities that were in the report, the high, medium, and low. Revised it a little bit, and so I would like to hand this out to you if that's okay.
Sure.
The items that are highlighted in blue
Thank you.
are the ones that have changed.
Thank you.
Do we have a digital copy of this? Can we put it up on the screen for folks?
So the blue are ads stuff?
I can go through this.
Okay.
Yes, the blue ones are just changed. So if you'd let me highlight the ones that we thought we could change, and then we'll get your feedback as well. Under firefighters park, the only one that changed was the marsh edge pruning, and that went from high to medium. I do also want to tell you that there is, in the report, it was in the wetlands report, there was a culvert that needs some cleaning, and I did speak with Chris and Eric, and that is something we can do in-house for no cost. Under Parsons Field, we would like to move the reconstruction and drainage infrastructure from low to high. And the flex lawn that is under medium has been removed from the plan completely. Under Rotary Park, the shade structure has been moved.
So do you want to just explain why that's a high now?
Why that's a high. Sure, I was gonna go back there. Okay.
Okay.
No, that's okay. We can do that. So at Parsons Field, we have drainage issues. Anytime it rains, we hold water there. There's certain areas where the grass isn't growing. There's a lot of ruts in the park. There are, it's just not a level field. And so what we'd like to do is address that before we start anything else. We know we want to move the T-ball field there, put in the walking paths, but before we do that, we really need to address the drainage issue and the grading of the field. So that's why we moved that to high, because that's kind of the framework, the base work for that park.
Stephanie, that brought up a question to me. Why are we want to move the T-ball field from firefighters park to Parsons Field?
We're just trying to create a park where all of the athletics, all of the active play is taking place.
But T-ball is only, it's very busy when it's T-ball season.
Right. Like it's like
And it's-
April to June, yeah.
Till school gets out,
Yes.
and that's it. So what are we gonna use that? And that Parsons Field is used a lot in the summertime by a lot of different things. So seems to me the T-ball field is in a really good spot.
Yes and no. It is in a good spot. The complaints that we get at firefighters park,
Mosquitoes and
yes.
Mosquitoes.
Many mosquitoes.
It is the
There are
mosquitoes, yes,
Mosquitoes,
definitely.
yeah, I
And
know.
it's bad, and it's families, it's a T-ball field, so it's usually families with small children. A lot of them have even younger children that they're in strollers, and they're getting eaten alive while they're out there.
And it's okay up at
Yeah,
Parsons?
definitely not much
I think-
better,
I think
yes.
the other piece was that we wanted to be able to have the space to turn firefighters park into a play area with enough walking paths for that neighborhood, turn it into a neighborhood park. And also, we have the amenities, for the Little League at Parsons, so we have the public bathrooms and things of that nature
Right.
that people need for those activities.
Right, and because we want to do that playground down at firefighters park and make it, a decent-sized park, it definitely will cut into that ball field area.
Okay.
Rotary Park, we have moved the shade structure from low to medium. We have moved the expand and reconfigure the play area from medium to low. Installing the fence along Beechwood, we put it low, moving it from the high, but I want to note that, if we're looking to turn the basketball courts into a multi-use and add pickleball courts there, that at that time we would be adding a fence, so we would probably just continue that fence to go along the playground as well. And then the fence, the portable bathroom, we moved to the low, because we figure we can make that presentable by putting a fence around it. So we move that to the low.
Just so I understand, so we're saying on the high, we're resurfacing the courts, and may include the fence. All right, so you're saying.
Right.
If and the, to include, all right, so there's a fence that's gonna be required?
So if we put pickleball courts on the basketball court in that area, we'll have to add fencing there,
There's
yes.
two fences. One is a fence for for pickleball, and court activities, and the other is a safety fence from the playground to the street.
One stops a ball, the other stops a kid.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
And then eventually one might stop a ball and a
And a
kid.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, as we look at these items, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have in regards to this, but in regards to the whole report as well.
I have some. Can I go?
Go right ahead.
Okay, if we go to the Parson Field, so when I look through the plan, by the way, I read through this, and for anyone that hasn't, I would recommend it, because it's just a great overview of everything in town. And the consultant did a nice job, putting this together. So anyways, on the Parson Field map, you have additional parking
Yes,
on the right here. So no one parks there right now.
People park there all the time right now, but they're parking on the turf.
Okay, but that's our access area to that back
Correct.
field, so we
Yes.
wouldn't want to establish a parking lot there, right?
I think it's considered, the access is larger than,
Yeah.
than that. I think you could still have, and that's a question, would you still have room for a road if indeed a road would need to be put in to access the,
Yeah.
the
The
lot?
8 acres.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably a 50-foot, isn't it? At least, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we
But
would,
that's something to be sure.
yeah, so I think
Yeah.
we would want to discuss that before we signed up for that, you know, to
For
do
sure.
a paved parking. We'd want to
Yeah.
run that one down to the ground.
Good thought.
And so I liked, you know, I liked the the firefighter park, you know, that felt good, the Parson Field felt good. So my comments are gonna be around the Rotary Park, and I'm just gonna state on the record that I'm a tennis player, so I'm going to probably disturb some people with my,
Bias, pickle bias.
with my comments. Bill. So here we go. Okay,
Throw a ball in.
so one, in general, the other parks in town are in a nice location where it's really not residential, it's more park feel, you know, it's away from public, you know, not Silas Park on the road, but in general, the other ones where there's activity. That's where I see the Rotary Park is different to me. And so when I read through what we might intend to do for the Rotary Park, that's where I started to think. And I always like to put myself in the place of whoever's living there. So if I was living in the house that was very close to the courts, I would have an issue with anyone building anything more there and/or creating more, you know? And so when I read the nighttime stuff, I'm glad to see that that sort of got struck down. And I really, so I view Rotary Park, if decision was up to me, I view Rotary Park as something that is good as it is now, and that we shouldn't build out that area anymore in consideration for the residents that live right there. And then, as a tennis player, so I'm not speaking as a select board member right now. This is the open forum. I'm a resident right now. As a tennis player, I read the report, and you made somebody made the comment about the, you know, tennis pickleball thing going on, and so I actually fell prey to that. So this year, I didn't like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday pickleball versus the Tuesday, Thursday tennis. So I would like to see even play between the two sports on the courts as they exist today. I would like to maybe even see 2 days a week, Monday, Wednesday pickleball, Tuesday, Thursday tennis, Friday an open day, first come, first serve, Saturday open day, and sort of leave it like that. And then just as a funny story, it wasn't funny to me at the time, but it's funny in hindsight. I showed up on a tennis day with my tennis racket, and pickleballs were playing. And I waited with my friend, and then kindly said it's tennis day, and I was told that there was courts open in Kennebunk, and that there's also private clubs I could join. So I did not call Lori, I did not call Stephanie, I did not call anyone, I just waited, because my mom always said, there will be a time in life, Mary, when you will be able to, you know, not seek revenge, but, you know, have a discussion. So today's my night. So I would like, so I think the biggest thing for me is, you know, kidding aside, is I'd like to see Rotary left where it is. I'm just so conscious of the residents that live there. I understand pickleball is a great sport. But I don't think the town has the onus to support a club. The town has the onus of parks to support casual sport for the residents. And if a club comes out of it, then the club needs to find a place to go to become a club. I don't think the town needs to take the onus of a club. So I'd like to keep Rotary as a casual, and that's all I have to say.
I did want to mention something to the audience here and the thousands that are on television watching us, that this was all reviewed at the last meeting, the entire detail was. And what we've got here now is, we're talking about is, it's been detailed out as far as potential budget applications go. So, now I'm assuming that anybody here or anybody in town who wants a copy of this can get a copy of it, and we can provide those,
Yep.
correct?
Absolutely.
So, pick them up at the rec department. Yeah, okay. John, comments?
No? Just a question, asking.
No, I mean, do you have any comments on
Oh, I'm
that?
sorry, no, not yet, but come back to me.
Okay, Alan?
Yeah, I don't play either, so.
Well, I've spent a lot of time at firefighters park, as you know.
Yep.
And so I would really like to see something more than just Freddie the fire truck there for kids, because there are an awful lot of kids that come there.
Yep.
And they love the fire truck, and they play on the fire truck, but then, you know, that's good for a lot of kids for maybe 10 minutes, and then they're looking for something else to do, and so a lot of people come and picnic there and play, and the kids run in the park, and the dogs, at the same time, the dogs are there. And I just think that if we did something with firefighters field, I think having some type of a playground area there for the kids would be great. And I'd like to see the either the fire truck made safer with some either fencing, or I'd like to see it moved
Yeah.
to the main field.
Well, that's-
And that would be probably the safest of all. And the other thing is, I see in here, I didn't realize it came under Parks and Rec, but because it's the firefighters' park, that entrance is really, really narrow. And the sight line is really bad. So if people are coming out, getting their mail, or going in to get their mail, you almost have to wait for the car to exit before you turn off Mills Road. So I'm glad to see that that's in there. I'm also happy to see that there's some interest given to a walking trail with maybe some exercise stations. But you're still gonna have to worry about the mosquitoes there, no matter what happens, so. But there's some drainage issues there too that we've gotta fix. So, in going through this, it seems like we had drainage issues everywhere. And so, I would think that we would recommend that for consideration, that we fix all of the drainage issues first, before we do anything else, because it's just gonna run into more expense if you try to keep fixing things and so forth, so.
That'll help the mosquitoes.
It would probably help somewhat on
Yeah.
the mosquitoes too. But I like the thoughts for everywhere, basically. It's just gonna come down to what can we afford and when can we afford it.
Right, and also I want to point out, there's high, medium, and low priorities here. But even though something might be in the high priority, you know, this is a 10-year plan. That's going to take many years to get through these high, medium,
Yeah,
and low.
yeah.
So I don't want anybody to think because it's high, we're going to get it done this first year, because that probably won't happen. But, you know, I am looking at a lot of different grants, and we have a donor that's ready to, you know, pitch in some money at Parsons Field for the T-ball field. So, you know, we're looking at many options as far as funding goes, not just to our capital with the town.
You know, at Rotary Park, there used to be swings there for the kids. There's like 4 or 5 swings.
Yes, I think they're still there.
And
Yeah.
I don't know whether you remember that or not, or they might have been already taken out before you came, but there was quite a few swings over by where the mailboxes are now.
Oh, by the mailboxes, okay. Oh, at firefighters.
And it was used.
Sorry, I was thinking Rotary.
Did I say Rotary? I meant firefighters.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And it was used quite a lot.
Oh, sure.
And I've had a few people comment about how come they took the swings down. Well, they were no good,
Right.
wore out. So.
Is this the fishermen who are looking for the swings, or?
Beg your pardon?
Is this the fishermen who are looking for the swings?
A couple of people, yeah.
Well, as we start getting into our planning for our budgets, we will be coming back to you to ask for some funds to do some of these items.
Thank you.
What do you think is number one?
The drainage certainly
Drainage,
is an issue,
yeah,
and,
I do
yeah.
too. Yeah.
I don't want to invest in other things if it's just
And
gonna
what would
become a
be-
problem.
What would be the first fun thing?
first fun thing to
The
do.
first fun thing that we should do?
Wow, that's a big question, because there's things at each park I'd like to do first. But I think we need to address the Rotary Park, just the playground itself, the site, like some regrading, it needs a shade structure. So a couple things like that. Firefighters Park, would love to get that, the parking lot set so that we can start working on the fields and getting that playground in. I know that's a big priority down there.
I hope that the shade structure is not the canvas thing that we're talking, I hope it's a permanent
Permanent,
structure.
yeah.
Yeah, because it just, you know what happens to those things. you know?
Yes,
So, good.
I'd like to
absolutely.
make one more comment.
Yeah,
Mike is right about the entrance to the firefighters park. It's
Very narrow.
You have no sight on either side hardly. And the cars go, they're going 25, 30 miles an hour and.
Yep.
On Mills Road, on Mills
or
Road.
more.
Right.
So that does need to be addressed.
Perfect. Got it on my list.
Sheila, anything else?
I have, at this point in my life, grandkids. And so, like, when we went to play T-ball this year, the other little one had nothing to do.
Right.
So that's my thing about Fireman's Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Anybody
Okay.
else? Anything? Good? Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Steph. And again, anybody who wants to get a copy of, it's about a 30-page,
Yeah, it's very
right
thorough.
about a 30-page report, very good about the strategies and so forth, so welcome to pick them up. Okay, moving on. We want to award the contract amendment, award a contract amendment for dewatering project and construction administration contract. Eric?
Yes. Thank you for having me here again for the dewatering
We'll see
contract.
you every week.
Yeah. Sleep, yeah.
I apologize. We're still working through a lot of numbers, and right now, we've finally, I feel comfortable right now that we've nailed them down. We've still not executed a contract amendment with them, but this time, this would be the one that would be looking to do. I did listen to you, Mike. I did put it in a tabular form where the numbers are actually.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's, yeah, very clear, yeah.
So you can see here, basically, so I've identified basically clarifies a completed project that is fully has been paid for at this time. The engineering for that particular project's also been completed for the clarifiers, the pump stations. We've done some minor contract amendment, or we're proposing to do a contract amendment there for removing some of the ledge removal in there, just to basically help balance the pricing here. We're basically taking $10,000, basically effectively taking it from the pump stations, putting it into the dewatering project. The dewatering installation, we had a change of thoughts about one of the reductions that they proposed. We actually accepted not placing the variable frequency drives. The last time I met with you, we've decided to put those back in.
Yeah.
We've also changed the size of those drives because the motors that we're gonna be putting in there are gonna be slightly larger. So anyways, that change was around $20,000. We're putting back into the dewatering project. So that's reflected in that number of 1.221. Reason being predominantly is just the logistics of basically taking down dewatering equipment and then putting dewatering equipment at the same time and having our waste pumps work at the same time. It's just the logistics of us continuing to operate as we do today without interruption. And so they'll be responsible for that coordination. So,
Okay.
in the dewatering equipment, there was a minor change to that as well because of the polymer system. So anyways, ultimately, the final number is, on the $6 million bond, is 5.981.
So you accounted for the whole 6 million now,
Yes.
for everything?
So this is everything, yes.
And do we have, for those of you who haven't been here that long, we a number of years ago, we have a very old wastewater treatment plant. And identified with Chris and Eric and others, a long-term plan that we needed to, what we needed to do to fix the wastewater plant, and we floated a $6 million bond to cover it. And so what we're coming, a lot of this has been completed, but most of it's under ongoing. And if you go down to the Cape Porpoise Fire Station, you can see one of the big projects that's going on now in the pump station down there.
Yeah, Wells District and Betty Creek.
Wiles District was just completed, right?
Wells District is, it's operating under the new pumps. We are still waiting for a generator there, and we're gonna be, it's not, in springtime, we're gonna do a lot of cleanup. We're gonna be doing the paving, putting in fencing, so on and so forth. So aesthetically, it probably doesn't look great, but it's operating, it is new plant there.
So our plan is to get this done and then keep some kind of a rolling fix instead of waiting 20, 25, 30 years and doing it all at once, because we were surprised. So, thanks, Eric.
Yes. So the last component on this is we're looking for engineering support for the installation of the dewatering equipment, which is the $50,000 that we're proposing. Who we've been working with, which is Woody Curran all along on the design build of this project. And we're proposing, we have a proposal for $50,000 to support up to, not to exceed, I should say, to clarify. So not to exceed figure of $50,000 to be able to give us construction support throughout the project.
And that's coming out of your budget.
Well, yes, this would be coming out of reserves, I believe this is what we're proposing, correct?
This is, the 50,000 is from your capital operating.
Yep.
So the SCADA project came in about 50,000
That's right,
under
my
budget.
apologies, yeah.
Right.
Yes, I wrote that in this.
Yeah,
Yes, so the SCADA project, right. So by awarding directly and having Woody Curran do the coordination of the SCADA project, it gave us a savings of about $56,000. We'd like to utilize that. We budgeted $450, the project came in at $393 and $400, and so we'd like to utilize $50,000 nexus in there. Leaves us another $6,000 just in case, but that number is not to exceed, so we would not expect Woody Curran to go beyond that number. So, thank you.
Okay,
So we would be looking for two motions, because there'll be one for the construction administration contract with Woodard and Curran, and one for the,
50,000.
and one for the amendment to the contract with Apex.
I'll make a motion to authorize a change order with Apex Construction for $1,211,155.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Entertain a motion for the $50,000.
Make a motion to authorize a construction administration contract with Woodard and Kern for $50,000.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye, good, thanks. Good
Thank
job,
you.
Eric.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Can I just point of clarification? I know the change order says 211, we're making that budget adjustment, so are we clear on that number, or is it 1.22?
211 is the number.
We're all set. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, we have Chris award the bid for the Public Works 2006 Ford F-350 truck.
How's everyone doing? So as part of this year's budget, we had appropriated $70,000 to replace our truck 10, which was a 2006 Ford F-350. That vehicle well served its life. It had a lot of mechanical issues with it. So we put that out to bid on November 20th. Bids were due on December 6th. We only received 2 bids. First one was from Stephen Bryant in the amount of $850. The second one from Amy Aldrich in the amount of $1,300. So I think I'd forwarded a list of the mechanical issues that were associated with that vehicle. They were pretty extensive. So based on that and the age of the vehicle and the fact that, it will no longer pass inspection, I would recommend accepting the bid from Amy Aldrich in the amount of $1,300.
I have a question, just for curiosity. How many miles was on the F-350 truck?
Let me see if I put that in the ad.
Alan, there's no more bids allowed. There's no more bids allowed.
I don't think I'd want it.
Bids closed.
1301, is that what you're going in?
146.
146,414.
Tough miles in
miles.
town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say. Thank you.
And Amy is fully aware of the lists of
Yes, yes, we disclosed everything in the
Shortcomings,
posting. Yes, yeah, we disclosed everything in the posting.
Entertain a motion.
I move that we award the bid to Amy Aldridge for the purchase of the 2006 Ford F-350 truck at a value of $1,300.
Second? Okay.
Second?
All those in favor? Good, 5-0.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next is to consider the request for the waiver of the planning board fees for Housing Trust new subdivision on Beechwood. Is it, Larissa, you're gonna?
And I've got David here too to answer questions as needed. Hi, I'm Larissa Crockett. I'm the Executive Director of the Kennebunkport Heritage Housing Trust. And we are hoping that the Select Board will consider waiving both the preliminary application fees and the final application fees, which total $5,000 for the project, for the Beechwood Avenue project. The project is being named Landon Woods after Ruth Benson Landon. She was a former select person here in town, also very active in the Historical Society. And the sketch plan process has begun. That has been submitted to the planning board. We hope to be on their agenda in January. But we do have this additional fee structure that's coming up to us in the next few months. And just as happened at Heritage Woods, we're hoping that the town will waive those. These are not fees that cost the town directly. They are waiving fees that you would be collecting. We would continue to pay all of the mailing costs, all of the publication costs, and anything that is an out-of-pocket expense.
So I have a question about the design of the buildings.
Yeah.
I would like to see what the design would look like once you get them done.
Happy to come in. We have an RFP out to builders right now. You can see that RFP in its entirety on our website, khht.org. There's a separate page that right now is titled Beechwood Avenue Neighborhood. Once I have a good biography of Ruth Landon, I will be changing that tab to Landon Woods, but right now it just says Beechwood Avenue. So you can see the RFP. You can see that we were very clear in the specs to builders what we're looking for. They will be 2-family dwellings. They will have 2 separate homes that will be connected by external architecture, just like we did at Heritage Woods. We're asking that one of the homes be between 800 and 1,000 square feet, the other home be between 1,100 and 1,400 square feet. We've been clear in the RFP about the zoning ordinance language regarding 2-family dwellings, that one home needs to be subordinate in size to the other, that they cannot share front doors on the same face of the house, and also including the really quite stringent requirements that Maine Housing has right now for the housing as well. And we've put in language that makes it clear that we would like to see homes that have what we are referring to as a classic New England architectural style that meets the Kennebunkport aesthetic.
That's what I'd like to hear.
I understand the deed issue has been cleared. Is that correct?
Yes, settlement agreement has been signed. We are still waiting on final summary judgment from the court, but we expect that to clear without any issue, as there is no objection.
Good.
You might want to mention that. May I?
Yes, please, always.
Hi,
Hi, Dave.
just like old times.
I know.
David Kling, I'm on the board of the Housing Trust. We're actually going to build yurts, if that's okay.
Circular.
I trust you don't mind. Just a comment on the timing. Everything Larissa said is completely accurate. We really want this place to look good. It'll be a classic New England style that will fit in with the town. But I don't think we'll be able to show you anything final until we really kind of get through the planning board process to see what they have to say, and then we get the bids back from the contractors. It's kind of a question of, what can we actually afford to get done with the funds that we hope to have available. So, and the other comment, I think you're all aware that, but we had a considerable unexpected expense in several $1,000s in achieving quiet title to the property. So this, and given the amount of the expense, the fundraising that we're going to have to achieve to make this project work successfully, any small amount or modest amount helps. And I think the other thing has just occurred to me, it's a way for the town to show its continuing support for the Housing Trust. And I think that's important to us in our fundraising efforts. I mean, we really want to stay connected, which is why I think when we're ready to come back and show you what we're planning, I think makes sense. Well, we've got a good communication going, and so something we want to consider. So, them's my thoughts.
How many units, Larissa or Dave?
Six units.
6 units, and then both are two-family, or?
Two.
Yeah, so the parcel is 4.7 acres, and when you take out infrastructure, acreage, and wetland acreage, we're left with about 3.6 acres to be building on. And that zone requires a 1 acre lot, and each lot is allowed to have up to a 2-family dwelling on the lot. So that gives us 3 duplexes on that parcel.
Are they all going to look alike?
Well, yes, the 3 duplexes will be, we are asking builders,
similar.
yep. So, but again, one of the homes will be per ordinance requirement, subordinate in size, that's the language that they use in the ordinance,
Yep.
to the other. So I think we could kind of picture, we really want the smaller homes to be single story. Our thought is that we really feel that we are hearing from the community, and we agree that we would like to make sure that people that are looking to maybe downsize and age in place safely here in Kennebunkport, a single story 2-bedroom home is a really good size for that. So that 800 to 1,000 square foot unit that will be part of a duplex will be a single story, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. And then the second home, we expect to be a 3-bedroom, 1.5 to 2 bath, depending on the design, final design. So you can, and that would be 2 stories. So we can kind of picture in our minds like a classic New England cottage next to a classic New England Cape Colonial sort of style.
I think just an informational piece.
Microphone, Dave?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I should know better. I think we have, without going out to the public yet, because it's too early, I think we have, at least 9 people on the waiting list?
11.
11 people on the waiting list. So, I mean, it's, word of mouth has gotten out. So there's
Yeah.
a huge demand out there, as you know. So.
Yeah.
And
So,
if you have a moment, I'd like to speak to that just a moment, but would you like to go first, Ms. Gold?
no, go ahead, Larissa.
Okay, so one of the things that we were really hoping to do, we learned from Heritage Woods, it's a really challenging population to find, both that meet our income requirements. So for folks that are listening or, that are not aware, we have half of the homes are capped at being sold to people that earn up to 80% of the area median income. And the other half are capped at serving folks that earn up to 120% of the area median income. And finding people that are within that income range and that can qualify for a mortgage through banks is a really small population, and it can be challenging. So we are hoping that by getting out in front and marketing this neighborhood really early on, we will start doing an actual push to all sorts of different groups, starting in March, we're hoping, of 2024, that we will have a full 1.5 years to identify interested applicants, to have them go through homeownership classes with Avesta, to give us time to work with them on any sort of credit repair that might be necessary, so that by the time that we get to a place where we're ready to hold a lottery to decide who is going to be the owners of those homes, we will have an actual pool of people that are qualified, able, not only income qualified from our standards, but are also qualified to secure the mortgage that they need to purchase that home. So it's a long process, but we are excited to have it work smoothly this time.
So I think my comments are already, I'm in alignment with Alan, which probably with the rest of the board is, thanks for this opportunity, but then we would like to see, before it becomes finalized, the aesthetics. But I think we're all in this New England feel, which it's good to hear. And then the second thing is when you're ready, because I know you're going through the process, I know John's involved with it, in developing the lottery. I think it would be good to come back and just walk us through what that lottery process actually is, so that, the board and the residents can hear, just like they heard tonight, a little bit more about the Heritage Trust. It would be good for them, our community, to understand the lottery process for that too. I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, we are really lucky this time around. The KHHT board last year formed a new committee called the Stewardship Committee. And that committee's task is to not only steward the homeowners that we currently have as our in place at Heritage Woods with, and if they ever chose to sell their home or any sort of homeowner needs that they have, but to also steward the process of becoming a Heritage homeowner. And that group has spent, actually earlier this week, met to start working through the process of what that lottery will look like before we start to market these homes out to the populations that we think will be interested in becoming homeowners with us. We want to make sure that the lottery process is clearly defined, clearly understood, and it can be part of the marketing materials so that nobody has any questions about what they are entering into as they start the process to become a Heritage homeowner.
I just have one general question, just because I don't know. Is there a requirement, if they are working, is there a requirement for them to be working within the town proper, or?
No, and actually I was on the phone with HUD this morning trying to find out what the legal allowance is for even having a local pool. So we will certainly be reporting back on what we are allowed to do from a local preference standpoint. I think it is possible that we will be able to have in the lottery a small pool that is first pulled for, we can imagine, 2 homes, let's say. Okay, that has a local preference. So does the person currently live in Kennebunkport? Do they currently work in Kennebunkport? Do they currently have children in the RSU 21 school system? They may be allowed by law to have, we might be allowed to have a separate pool for 2 homes, maybe, that they could be pulled from first, and then that population could be put into the larger pool as a whole. But because of the fair housing rules that really are important, we want to make sure that we are creating housing that is equally accessible to all. Having homes that are simply restricted to people that are currently employed in Kennebunkport, I think would not meet the standards for fair housing.
We have somebody in the audience who would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
In TV land.
Oh, in TV, oh, okay.
Thank you. This is Melinda Anderson. I live out by Goose Rocks out on Route 9. I just have a question for Ms. Crockett. I hear that, if I understood it correctly, 80% to 120% of the local median income is what you're basing the guideline on for income. What does that amount to for real dollars?
Sure,
Can you tell us with our area what that amounts to?
I can. So just I want to clarify, though, half of the homes are for people that earn up to 80%. Okay, so that is an affordability standard that is set. And so that's half of the homes, and then the other half are for people that earn up to 120%. For how area median income is determined by HUD, that's the Housing and Urban Development Federal Government Agency, and it's done by county. So when we talk about area median income, it is not specific to Kennebunkport, it is specific to York County. And interestingly, York as a town and a couple of other towns within York County have been pulled and put into a higher bracket, and Kennebunkport was not one of them, which I think is a little odd. But so if, and it's based on family size. So the area median income is a factor of how many people are in that household. Okay, so area median income of a 2-person household is different and lower than the area median income of a 4-person household. So let's use a 4-person household, the 120% of area median income is 115,000, and today, right? And these change every May. So by the time that we are ready to sell these homes, that will be 2 years worth of changes will have taken place before these homes sell. So that might be a little bit higher. And so 80%, I believe, is 79,000 for a family of 4.
And there are a number of caveats of what is counted as the income. So the alimony, there's all kinds of pieces, rental income, so it's a complicated, you need to really run it to ground for any individual. If someone's looking out there in the audience, say, well, that's my income, well, we need to know what those elements, sources of adding up to that 80 consist of.
Yeah, and it is a household income. So if you have two earners in the home, one of them is earning $40,000 a year, one of them is earning $45,000 a year, then that household income is $85,000. And so if they're a family of four, that's going to push them above the 80%, but it's going to keep them within that 120%.
And if there's an 18-year-old working, that also counts to the.
If they are a full dependent to the parents and they just have a part-time job, I don't believe that would count as the household income. I can clarify that, but I believe that if,
Different than mass, but that's okay.
okay, I could be wrong.
Larissa, can you just also maybe explain for people that it wasn't arbitrary, the 80 and 120, that that's actually,
Those are legit numbers.
Yeah.
So the 120 comes from Maine Housing. So so it costs us about, just like every other developer, it costs us an amount of money to build a house. So we're estimating for this neighborhood that it's going to cost us about $475,000 per unit to build these homes. Maine Housing provides a subsidy, providing we meet all of their requirements and providing the pool of money is still funded at the state level. The state of Maine, Maine Housing provides us with $70,000 per unit as a subsidy, okay? In order to qualify for that subsidy, you cannot sell that home to somebody that earns more than 120% of the area median income. So that number of that 120 comes from Maine Housing. The 80% number is because we are a 501c3, and we are capped from a federal perspective as far as taking in tax-free donations to building housing at that 80% level. So thank you for the question, Ms. Gilbert. These numbers are not arbitrary. They are set for us by other organizations, and we're happy to meet them because it's a population that we feel is important to provide housing for.
I'll make a motion.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just would like to underscore how informative this is to have you guys here, both for the board, but also for the folks in the audience and on Zoom. I would like to propose that I would think at least every quarter that we have the Housing Trust come and just give us an update.
My pleasure.
And be able to talk about the lottery would be a piece of it, the look, the feel, where we are. And even if there's nothing to talk about specifically, there are going to be questions. And it's going to be important to hear from you. I think we've all learned a lot just in this evening.
I would love to, as long as I can make shameless plugs for support.
Absolutely.
So
What is that website?
the website, again, sir, is khht.org. You can make a tax-deductible donation to your local housing trust right there on our website, easy to navigate.
Credit cards are accepted.
Very much so.
the number will appear at the bottom of your screen.
Yes, you're
Yes,
right.
and we are in the middle of our annual campaign right now, so this is a great time to get those end-of-year tax-free, tax-deductible donations into your favorite local nonprofits, and we would love to be one of those favorite local nonprofits to everyone who's here.
So do you do a mailing?
I believe all of you should have in
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks
Yeah, we
received
did.
a mailing from our organization. Thank you, Mr. Daggett. And it has a very convenient QR code at the bottom of it that you just have to flash your smartphone at, and it will take you right to our donation page. We try to make it as simple as possible to get your dollars to us.
And those sea bags are really
Oh,
lovely.
they really are handsome, aren't they? There's still 13 left. If anyone would like one, you just let me know.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Any other hands? No other hands? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to waive the fees for the Beechwood Housing Trust,
The planning board fees.
planning board fees, thank
For
you,
the housing trust.
for the Housing Trust.
Second.
All those in favor? Good, good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we want to approve the 2024 waste hauling permits.
That's okay.
Same companies, correct?
We have two before you, Waste Management of Maine and Casella. They filled out their paperwork, submitted their payments, and staff recommends approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the waste hauling permits for Waste Management of Maine and Casella.
Second.
Sheila beat me again.
All those in favor? Good, okay, approved. So the last item we have is the town of, accept a $50 anonymous donor, gift from a donor to the nurses' account. The money was granted to the public health nurses to assist with supplies, equipment, training, and/or any needs they see fit.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Good.
With
Okay,
appreciation.
with appreciation.
With appreciation.
So, at this point, before we go into executive session, is there any other business from anybody? Everybody?
No, I'm just looking forward to playing tennis this summer.
On every other day with the
Every other day,
pickleball
yeah,
players.
pickleball, yeah. John, anything else?
Oh, thank you.
I'm set.
All set?
I-
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said that's what.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for their cooperation with Prelude this year. We think it went off beautifully. So sorry that the dogs didn't get to march into their parade. But all in all, I thank everybody for their cooperation, and I hope everybody had a good time. And we're going to do it again next year.
And thank you, Sheila, for all the work
Yes,
and
thank you.
dedicated effort you put into
There's
it.
a lot of people who do.
Indeed, but
Yeah.
thank
I
you.
still miss the Christmas trees.
What?
I still miss the Christmas trees.
You want me to unplug it and?
Oh, the Christmas trees. Oh, no, 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 no. No, that was awful.
What did you do?
Apparently,
And that's it.
telephone pole?
Okay, I have no other business, Lori?
I used to do it,
Oh,
Nina?
wow, no,
Nothing, huh?
wow.
Good. Then we want to approve the December 14th treasurer's warrant.
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second.
All those in favor? No, unanimous again. Goodness. So at this point, I'd entertain a motion for the board to go into an executive session. When we come out of executive session, there'll be no decision rendered. It's discussion, so entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. What's?
Go ahead.
Oh, the select board is now in executive session at.
Per MRSA
Oh, yeah, I gotta
1456E.
keep saying that. Keep saying that. Per MRS 1, a 405-6E at 6:55.
Okay.
We going
Keep
up
forgetting
there?
that part, yeah.